Welcome back, everybody, to the PGA DFS Pick Show. As always, I am your host, John McNutt. You can find me on socials at JohnCool19. I'm here for Fantasy Sports Insight, talking DraftKings daily fantasy golf. Really excited for this week's RSM Classic, a much better field than we've had the last few weeks, really the last couple months. This is definitely the most elite field we've seen all fall, and certainly the last one we are likely to see until the beginning of the year with the Tournament of Champions in January. So let's go ahead and jump right in here. This week's event, the RSM Classic, is played at Sea Island Golf Club. There are two courses this week, Seaside and Plantation. The Plantation course will only be played on Thursday and Friday, and then all golfers who make the weekend will play the Seaside course two more times. The courses are somewhat similar in length, about 7,000 yards each, but the Plantation course it's a par 72. You get extra par fives. It's going to be much easier scoring. If you're playing Showdown this week, I would look to put most, if not all, of your golfers on the Plantation course into your lineups and avoiding Seaside golfers on those first and second round Showdown contests. You get an advantage there. Par fives, more scoring opportunities. So certainly look at that. Both courses are Bermuda grass greens. These are both very easy courses. We're going to see a ton of birdies this week, some including birdie or better in my modeling for key stats. Also looking at ball striking as always, probably more emphasis on approach. This is a second shot course. Golfers that are long off the tee do not get an advantage this week. So really you could kind of toss driving distance out, but drive accuracy, much more important. We want to find golf. We need golfers who are finding fairways this week. I've included drive accuracy, as well as you'll hear me talk about good drives gained. Good drives gained is a stat that can be found on Fantasy National. That's where I get all of my stats for this video and my model making. Good drives gained is a combination of fairways hit, but also if you miss the fairway just barely, but you're able to get a green in regulation from there, you get credit for a good drive gained. Looking at that this week, you need to be able to hit greens, so greens in regulation as well, but got to hit fairways, hit greens, and then it'll be a bit of a putting contest as we see on a lot of these birdie fest type courses. I'm also including shots gained windy conditions. It is a seaside course. We will see wind. Looks like the wind could be up at least 3 days out of the four, and certainly some rain in the forecast too this week. So it could be a weather weekend. Obviously paying a lot of attention on Wednesday and then for Showdown contests as well, looking at the weather to see if we can get an advantage based on tee times, etc. So keep that in mind. If you're looking at proximity this week, we're going to see a ton of approach shots come from the 125 to 175 range. Again, this is not a long course, not a lot of long approach shots to be expected. Course history is going to be playing a bit heavier in my modeling this week. Golfers tend to be able to perform here well year after year and like to come back. This is a home course for a lot of golfers to live in the area here. Also going to include just a couple extra stats like around the greens. Tends to be important here, especially when the wind kicks up. The course can get more difficult, more missed greens, and sand saves. Lots of sand on the course. So including both of those in your modeling as well. That's about it about the course. Let's jump right into my favorite plays. Starting off with Brian Harman. I haven't seen him yet this fall season. He's at 10,300 on DraftKings, 18-1 outright to win. I like his chances this week. He was a runner-up at this course a year ago. As we know with him, he hits a ton of fairways. He's coming in my modeling second in fairways gained. His last missed cut was in June, and since that missed cut, he had a win at the Open Championship, second at the Travelers, fifth at the BMW, and a ninth place finish. Also, great form for Brian Harman. Again, we haven't seen him since the playoff, but the last 6 months or so, red hot. So I like him a ton. I mentioned he was runner-up at this course last year. He also had a top 5 in 2017, and he has made the cut 5 out of the last 6 years at this event. He ranks number 1 in my model for good drives gained and number 1 in sand saves. And then I mentioned windy conditions. He ranks 12th in that in this field, and also ranks 6th on short courses. A lot to like of Brian Harman. I think he's going to be one of the betting favorites this week. He's obviously one of the highest priced golfers on DraftKings, If you can fit him in your lineup, I think you should absolutely take a shot there. One golfer just a little bit cheaper, but also probably equally my number one favorite in this field, and that is Russell Henley. If you look at the outright odds to win on DraftKings Sportsbook, he's only 14, or he's at 14 to 1 outright to win, but he's cheaper on DraftKings Daily Fantasy. I think that's some kind of implied value for him if you're playing him on DraftKings Daily Fantasy this week. His only missed cut since February was at, he's got two of them, but they were both at majors. He's been playing a lot better in some of these smaller, less critical events than the majors themselves. He's top 10 in 3 out of his last 4 events, so really good form to finish up the fall season, really the playoffs, if you will. He's made the cut in 6 out of 8 tries at this course. 3 of those were top 10 finishes, so he's got some great course history. He's number 1 overall in my model. He's number 2 in the odds, and then he is the 5th priced golfer on DraftKings. Like I said, I think that gives him some good value. And he's also best on Bermuda grass greens. So really everything looking like this could be a Russell Henley week. Couple other stats. He's second in my model fairways gained, 4th greens in regulation, 6th good drive gains, and 5th birdie or better on easy courses. All of that implies why he is number 1 in my overall stat model this week. So I like Russell Henley quite a bit. Some cheaper golfers to talk about here. I'll mention a few names, starting with Mark Hubbard. He is 7,400 on DraftKings, 65 to 1 outright to win. I don't necessarily think he is to win this week, but I think he's great for your DraftKings lineups. He's made the cut in 4 out of 6 fall events. He was 6th at the Sanderson Farm. If you were in the Discord chat with us last week, I had him pegged as a core play for cash lineups. He was 8,800 on DraftKings, finished 20th, certainly paid some value there. I think he can have a repeat here this week. In my model, he ranks 6th in ball striking, 10th greens in regulation, 16th in that good drives gained stat. He's also very good around the greens as well. Look Mark Hubbard's way. If you can get past the short putter that he uses, I certainly think he is an option that worth considering, especially at a 7,400 price tag. That's 1,400 less than last week. And the field is, yes, better, but I don't think that he should have dropped that much in the pricing. One more golfer I will mention, not on this slide, that is Doug Ghim. He's also at 7,400. He's made 3 out of 3 cuts at the RSM Classic. He's 8th in fairways gained in this field, number 1 greens in regulation, and 4th in that good drives gained stat. I've mentioned it a ton. I really like that as kind of a look at this week, not just golfers hitting fairways, but that can get greens in regulation as well, combo stat. So look Doug Ghim's way too, 7,400. He's probably going to be quite popular on DraftKings. Couple low-owned pivots to give you a bit of leverage on the field. Alex Noren, he's at 9,400. He is coming in the ownership projection. Yesterday on Fantasy National listed at about 10%, today up to about 12%. So maybe he is gaining a little steam, but I think that his percentage is a little deflated based on him not winning last week. He was kind of leading it throughout the weekend and then could not get it done on Sunday. Typically, we see guys that finish first or second one week, they get a dip in the ownership the next week on DraftKings. So I think that's a good piece of why his projections are lower. He's excellent putting on Bermuda grass. He's great in the wind, excellent around the greens. I think Alex Noren is worth a look and certainly a leverage option at that high price of 9,400. One more to mention as a pivot, that is Taylor Montgomery. He's not a golfer that I've played a ton. He has not had a great go of it for the last 6 months or so, but really the fall swing has been pretty good for him. He's excellent on easy courses. He's one of the best putters on tour. And as far as ownership goes, looking around him in the DraftKings pricing, he's like a half or a third, even less ownership than guys like Taylor Pendrith, Ben Griffin, and Matthias Schmid. All of those guys certainly are going to be a lot higher owned. I think Taylor Montgomery could pop this week and give you that top 15, top 20 finish to get leverage on all of those guys if a few of them falter. So certainly something to think about. And if you're trying to get leverage in big GPP contests, you need to have a couple guys that are on the lower ownership side. You can't just play all of the chalk. So that is going to do it for this week. I certainly appreciate you watching this video. If you could please like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to leave those here on YouTube. We are running a special this week and really for the rest of the fall season. There should be at least 2 more events in November and into December. And as far as the discount on Fantasy Sports Insight, if you go through our webpage, that's fsidfs.com, and you use the code swing season, all one word, no capitals, swing season, that'll get you a free week of PGA in our Discord. Behind the paywall, I have ownership projections posted on Wednesday, as well as kind of weather. We did a full wave stack last week, and it worked to our advantage, over a stroke gained versus the other wave. So that was really big for us. All of that in the Discord, ownership, core plays. So a lot in there, as well as just some general chat and showdown thoughts, as well as a core lineup. Whenever we can get an advantage on showdown, we're always in the Discord discussing it and really trying to see what we can do with our subscribers to get them a good advantage for even 1-day PGA contests. So the best way to get in, again, is through the webpage. You can also find a link to our Discord on our Twitter page. That is at FSI_DFS. Again, I really appreciate you watching, and good luck this week.